Hello again. Today I bring advice for finding your art style. That is, essentially, the way that you draw things that make them different from real life. Styles range from abstract to cartoony to realistic, with an untold amount of variety to them, and you may not find your art style unless you actively go looking for it. What do I mean by that? I mean that there's a lot of artists out there who, rather than develop their own style, closely echo an existing style. For clarity's sake, I'm going to call this the parent style. If you learn how to draw almost entirely off of one piece of media, that media becomes your parent style. It's common with artists who start off in fandom, drawing fan art. Maybe you started with My Little Pony, or The Lion King, or Adventure Time, and just kind of went from there. Maybe you, like me, have the unfortunate experience of an art teacher looking at your work and going, "Wow, your inspiration is pretty obvious. Ouch." But hey, this isn't a bad thing unless it's not what you want in your artwork. People can make a living off of fan art, and if you enjoy drawing it just as a hobby, you hardly need to stress about having a clear inspiration. But if you do want to branch out and really find a style all on your own, here's what you gotta set out to do. Tip 1. Gather your favorite artists and analyze them. Put together collections of images from your favorite artists, movies, comics, and shows. Make sure you have a good variety, 3 at the minimum. If you don't have 3 yet, don't worry. Just keep a lookout for images you want to draw inspiration from. When you take time to study, look closely at the images you've gathered. Take down notes about what you like about the different styles. From the color choices, to the use of texture, the line quality, the way the artist draws eyes, anything that makes that style jump out to you. When you have a list of attributes you like, study them. See how close you can get the line art or the eye shapes. See how closely you can mimic the expressions on the image. Then, once you've done this for one image, pick a different style and rinse and repeat. As you practice these separate attributes, you'll find that you enjoy drawing some things more than others. It's like rehearsing lyrics to a song. Some are just more fun to sing. Apart from your studies, when you practice your own pieces, you'll find that the things you practiced before will often make their way into your artwork. It'll be a slow integration, but one that helps your work evolve over time into a style that's more your taste. Oh, and an important note for the uncertain artist. You might, as you develop your work, encounter people who look at the new thing you're trying and go, "Why did you do that?" Make your answer, "I don't know. I like it though." Tip 2. Find at least one non-art inspiration. The next thing to study and incorporate is something from the tangible world. Natural phenomena like fire or tar or sand dunes, or specific animals, things like butterfly wings or mushrooms. But these can also be man-made inspirations like skyscrapers, circuit boards, or trucks. The addition of non-artist inspiration helps add a level of originality to your work, but it can be harder to navigate incorporating it. Looking at a picture of fire, it's kind of confusing thinking about how you might draw a horse with fire as the inspiration and not just end up with a Pokemon. But the idea isn't to bring literal fire, or whatever your inspiration is, into the image. Instead, it's a treatment strategy. If you practice drawing enough fire, you might find ways to incorporate the same kinds of pen strokes into your drawings. I'm realizing a lot of this is based on vibes, which makes sense. My mentor, Marshall Vandruff, always takes a moment with student work to say, "How do you feel about it?" Especially as it pertains to style. Style is unique in aspects of art. It's incredibly subjective. Unlike perspective and anatomy, which have at least some objective factuality to them, style boils down to what you think looks good. And what you think looks good will inevitably change as you continue to draw. Tip 3. Make rules. I'm at a point where I work in several different styles for the sake of different projects, something you'll likely notice watching me work. And sometimes I go months without drawing in one of the styles. To stay on top of it and be able to make pieces that match up, I write down rules for the styles I develop. Specific named brushes, line weights, and canvas sizes. And model sheets help a lot if you're someone working on sequential art like comics. If you want to do what I do, and have a few styles for different projects. Here's some advice for that. First, when figuring one out, do at least 3 pieces, ideally more, without swapping. And second, prioritize one style to be your market style. I've been passed up for jobs a few times because my portfolio is too all over the place. So while it's very fun to work in different styles, be aware it's not marketable for every art job. A lot of them want to see you with total mastery of your own singular style. But it's still good to have this stuff in your back pocket. The piece I'm working on this time is in my most comfortable style. I use it for illustrations mostly, but I've considered using it for projects like graphic novels as well. This style has been developed over time and a lot of drawing, with me first starting to prototype it in 2020. Over time, I narrowed down my preferred influences. When developing the style, I study from Gustave Doré, Yana Toboso, and Theodore Géricault. For natural phenomena, I refer back to ink, broken glass, smoke, and ice. Over time, revisiting these inspirations have influenced the way I treat my pieces, from long winding organic lines to rigid construction lines. It's not always visible. I think the piece I'm working on here doesn't show much of it at all. But that's kind of the beauty of it. I want people to look at my work and say, yep, Phoenix drew that, instead of looking at it and saying, wow, I know what artist you're referencing. This feels a bit hollow when I'm actively working on BoJack Horseman fan art. It's gonna remind you of Mr. Peanut Butter no matter what style it's in, right? Well, regardless, point still stands. I don't think anyone's going to look at it and say I'm drawing in the style of BoJack Horseman for this, although I've done that for other pieces. Anyhow, I think that's all I've got today. Take care of yourselves, and stay safe out there.